Backside of an old brick and stucco building on the edge of downtown Tallahassee, Florida. 10 o'clock on a muggy evening in early September, a couple weeks before the autumn equinox. The cleaning crew had left, rattling their equipment carts and trash bins across the blacktop to their vans. A few people remained in the building. 2 cars sat in the parking lot, and there were lighted offices on the second and third floors. A young woman with crystalline blue eyes and a short brown ponytail sat behind a ragged boxwood hedge, her back against the building's concrete foundation, a rucksack between her knees. Dressed in black jeans, a black long-sleeved blouse with a reversible red-black jacket, black side out, she was no more than an undifferentiated dark lump behind the hedge. She could turn the jacket to the red side if needed, so she wouldn't appear so obviously camouflaged for the night. A noisome mosquito buzzed her face, looking for an opening. To her left, a vent pooped vaguely fecal odors out of the building. Piece by piece, one distraction at a time, the young woman cleared her mind. No more odors, no more bugs. She'd hunted for food as a child, and she'd learned that a predator created a vibration that other animals could sense. She'd been in every sense a predator, but if she'd put her back against a tree and cleared her mind, the vibration would fade. She'd become part of the landscape, and the prey animals would go back to whatever they were doing before she arrived. She'd had rabbits hop within 6 feet of her, unalarmed, before they died. Now, with an empty mind, she had gone from being a lump to invisible. The woman was wearing one thin leather glove, and the fingers of that hand were wrapped in 100-pound test monofilament fishing line. The other end of the transparent line was tied to the loop handle of the building's back door. She waited patiently, unmoving, in the dappled moonlight that filtered through the Chickasaw plum trees on the edge of the parking lot. At 10 minutes after 10, the lights went out in the third-floor office, and the young woman brought her mind back to the world, shouldered her pack, and took a switchblade from her hip pocket. 2 minutes after that, a middle-aged woman carrying a heavy lawyer's briefcase pushed through the back door, looked both ways, then scurried out to a compact BMW. The building's door, on an automatic door-closer hinge, swung shut behind her. As it was about to lock, the young woman put pressure on the fishing line and held it. The door appeared to be closed, but hadn't latched. When the departing BMW turned the corner, the young woman eased out from behind the hedge, listening, watching, keeping a steady pressure on the fishing line. She walked to the door, pulled it open, blocked it for a second with a foot, and used the blade to cut the fishing line off the door handle. She slipped inside, balling the fishing line in her gloved hand, pressed the back of the knife blade against her leg to close it, dropped it into her pocket. Adrenaline beginning to kick in. Heart rate picking up. The target office had been vacant since 6 o'clock. The young woman turned left to the fire stairs and ran rapidly upward on silent, soft-cushioned athletic soles. At the 5th and top floor, she listened for a moment behind the fire door, then opened the door and checked the hallway. The only light came from street-side windows. She hurried down the hall to 504, removed her jacket, and took the battery-powered lock rake from her pack. She couldn't use the rake on the outer door because that door had a good security lock, and she would have been standing beneath a light where she couldn't be sure she was unobserved. This lock was not very good. There was nothing obviously valuable inside except some well-used office equipment. She wrapped the rake in her jacket and pulled the trigger. The pick made a chattering noise, muffled by the jacket. The young woman kept pressure on the rake, felt the lock begin to give, and then turn. She pushed the door open and stepped inside, closed the door, and sat on the floor, listening,